The Wolf has been knocking at Bud Carson's door, and it appeared the big bad 49ers were about to blow the Dog's house down.
Montana drops back, throws for the end zone. He's got his receiver. Jerry Rice is
the 49ers seem to be on track towards another championship, and it looked like just one more easy win for San Francisco. Until the Browns' defense changed the course of the game. In one stretch, Montana completed only 4 of 16 throws, and Carson made the right choice to trigger a comeback. Mike Pagel replaced an ineffective Bernie Kosar, and he rallied the Browns with 2 second-half touchdown passes.
End zone, Ozzie, touchdown Browns! Ozzie Newsome with a marvelous catch.
Vintage Newsome.
It is bedlam on the Browns sideline.
With 1:10 left in the game, it was time for Joe Montana to do what he's done so many times before.
Whitney and Rathman in the backfield. Pressure on Montana. Steps up. Lets it go. It is caught down the left sideline. Gerard, he's down to the 40-yard line.
It was another textbook perfect 2-minute drill. 7 plays, 44 yards, 1:05 off the clock, but enough time left for one last kick.
A 45-yard field goal. Right hash mark. Snap is good. Nick has plenty of distance.
He got it.
It is good. 5 seconds to go. Mike Hofer hits the field goal that gives San Francisco a 20-17 lead.
At 7-0, San Francisco is set to run off into the sunset with the NFC West title. Last year, Chicago strayed far from its winning ways, but now the Bears are back to blowing past their opponents, as they did in days gone by.
And back to throw Harbaugh. Harbaugh in the pocket, winds up, range on his right side, it's going to be wide open. Across the 25, and it's wide right to the end zone for the touchdown!
Wide open, doesn't even say it, Wayne.
Chicago scored 28 unanswered points to run away with the game.
Takes the snap, toss Anderson going wide, sweeping left, makes the turn to the end zone, touchdown!
Too easy, just looked too easy. And there are a few Bears fans here, aren't there?
There are. There must be, I'm going to guess, 25,000 Bear fans here today.
At 6-1, the Bears are making it look easy and are showing they can do it wherever they go.
The Chicago Bears defense is more similar to its 1985 Super Bowl team than the 6-10 disaster from last season. They've cut their points allowed in half from 23 to 13 per game. They're allowing 100 yards less each week. And last year, the Bears started 23 different players on defense, while this year, up until this Sunday, they've started the same 11. The coach of that team, Mike Ditka, joins Nick on NFL.
Dug out the tinsel to celebrate a Texas Stadium sellout. The Cowboys were anxious to test their mettle against an Eagles team champing at the bit for a win. And almost inevitably, the bad blood between the two teams boiled over. Once the undercard was completed, the Eagles landed the first blows en route to a 14-6 fourth-quarter lead.
He's looking. He's floating it. Wide open is Tony, who catches it for a touchdown. He pitches to Sherman. Sherman gets a block. Comes inside the 15. On his feet at the 10. At the 5. Touchdown! Heath Sherman!
The Cowboys trailed but refused to be bullied. Quarterback Troy Aikman led them to 14 straight fourth-quarter points.
First down, play action, bootleg left, throw it on the run, Novacek at the 10-yard line, to the 5, touchdown Cowboys! Snap is back, they rush it, it's blocked by Ike Holt, it's picked up at the 25-yard line. Handoff Emmitt Smith over the top, touchdown! Don't even worry about it.
The Cowboys' confidence had them on the verge of their fourth come-from-behind victory of the season as the Eagles took over on their own 15 with 4 minutes left and number 12 at the controls.
Cunningham drops. He's looking. He's being chased. He guns the football. Complete to Keith Jackson at the 25.
the 20-yard line. He's looking. He's being chased. Now he's running. He's coming across the 20, at the 15, at the 10, diving down at the 8 is Randall Cunningham. Cunningham is back. He's looking, floating it for the end zone. It is caught by Calvin Williams.
Rookie Calvin Williams' last-minute touchdown prolonged the Cowboys' frustration against the Eagles, who stretched their winning streak over Dallas to a seemingly endless 6 games. And it's been a seemingly endless stretch for the Bengals' Sam Weish, whose team has been on the road for 5 straight weeks. In a visit to Atlanta last Sunday, Weish met up with old nemesis Jerry Glanville. And like the two coaches, neither team was willing to give an inch to the other. The difference in the game became the Atlanta defense, which forced 5 takeaways, 2 of which set up first-half scores. While ball-hawking safety Scott Case got the Falcons off to a fast start, the game was put away in the second half with the big play.
He kicked it 100 miles. Dion out to the 35, dancing. 45, 50, Deion Sanders!
Just unbelievable speed, unbelievable
Coming out, little Broussard. He got away to the 45 to the 40, 35 to 30. Look at little Broussard. All the way, touchdown!
Deion Sanders' 79-yard punt return and Steve Broussard's 50-yard touchdown jaunt helped give Glanville a bit of revenge against the Bengals. But the postgame message was one of peace. A message Tampa Bay's Gary Anderson may not have had in mind as he prepared to take on his former teammates in San Diego. But any bad blood between Anderson and the Chargers was quickly washed away in the wake of the San Diego offense.
Everybody into the pattern. Billy Joe to throw. Launches it deep down the far sideline. Miller got it. Touchdown, San Diego.
The story of the game quickly became the Chargers' defense, which forced 7 takeaways.
The throw. Here comes the pressure. Arches it down the middle. Intercepted. Gilbert at the 20. A high snap, he pulls it down. Here comes the rush. He throws, intercepted!
Chris Chandler, starting for the injured Vinny Testaverde, threw 4 interceptions and was no match for a San Diego defense, which consistently set up the Charger offense in good field position, allowing San Diego to hammer at the Bucs with its bruising backfield of Marion Butts and Rod Bernstein.
Here is the give to Butts, dives to the 5, to the goal line, into the end zone, touchdown San Diego. Tolliver will give it. Here's Bernstein through the hole to the 15, to the 10, to the goal line. He scores!
The 41-10 victory breathed life into the once anemic Chargers and went a long way toward cleaning up any bad blood that remained with Anderson.
The San Diego Chargers still have plenty of time and opportunity.
Florida, where the sun always seems to shine. But this time last year was not so bright for running back Gary Anderson, who was embroiled in a bitter contract dispute with the San Diego Chargers. Anderson ended up sitting out the season, and at that point never dreamed that one day, like the prodigal son, he would return home to Tampa, where he began his football career. A career that started in '83 with the USFL's Tampa Bay Bandits. Within 3 years, the versatile Anderson had become one of the league's premier players. But when the USFL faltered, he jumped to San Diego, the NFL team that owned his rights. After 4 excellent seasons, 88 his finest yet, Gary's contract expired. Unable to reach a new agreement, he held out.
I think the roughest thing was mostly on Sundays. You know, you seeing your old friends out there playing, and you want to be out there, but you know, you still hold out on something that it shouldn't have never happened to begin with.
Was it frustrating for you?
It was, because you think you do all you can for a team, and I like to think I had a pretty good year my last year there. And to come down to setting out a season for a team, you think you've done so much for it, it was frustrating.
But frustration would turn to bitterness when Chargers GM Steve Ortmeyer publicly accused Ollie Anderson, Gary's wife and advisor, of interfering with negotiations.
He had took pot shots at the agent, and that didn't do any good. So who's the next best person to get to that's close to Gary? It's me, and I didn't mind, because I said if it was going to do something or was better for Gary and his family, they could say anything bad or good they wanted to say about me.
This year, Ortmeyer was released and replaced by Bobby Beathard, who acquired running backs Thomas Sanders and Ronnie Harmon. Coupled with the emergence of Marion Butts, Anderson became expendable. Finally, just one day before the draft, Gary was on his way home after being traded to the Buccaneers.
It was a great feeling. I still had a lot of old fans here and a lot of old ball players I played with the Bandits, and so to come back home, and play in front of the fans you had before and hope the new fans with the Buccaneers, it was great, and I got to move my family back and forth. We right here at home, so I couldn't ask for anything more.
Neither could head coach Ray Perkins, who finally obtained the player he'd been seeking since '82, when Gary was finishing out a brilliant collegiate career for Lou Holtz at Arkansas.
I just remember what kind of player he was, what kind of impact he had on the team here with the Tampa Bay Bandits. He lived here. We needed that kind of player. We didn't have that kind of a running back. So the first year I was here, I pursued him. The second year I pursued it. Third year I pursued it. Finally this year, the circumstances were such that we could work out a deal.
A deal that has benefited everyone. The electrifying Anderson, who's second in the NFL in combined yards, is a major reason for Tampa's improvement. And now, with his role firmly entrenched on the team, Gary can finally concentrate on the expected birth of their third child while playing Mr. Mom.
Get the kids up every morning, I make sure I comb their heads and I cook them breakfast and, and get them dressed and take them to school and take them to dance class, pick them up and everything. And, I just try to help out, right now, because she, in that position, and she can't really do it all herself. She get tired, so I do all the work.
Gary's life has definitely rebounded, both professionally and mentally. But what about the financial loss of holding out?
Well, I like to think we recovered. Considering the cost of living in San Diego and here and the tax law and everything, I like to think we made up everything that we lost.
Though it's difficult to recoup such a loss, there comes a point when money is no longer the issue. Gary has put this episode behind him and is displaying the same excitement on the field he was known for during the wide-open playing days of bandit ball. For Gary Anderson, there is no place like home.
An act of sweet charity.
Not long ago, the Houston Astrodome was the haunted house of the National Football League. But now, visitors need not take fear, for Jack Party's team sports a more wholesome image than his predecessors did. These days in Houston, cleanliness is next to godliness, and charity begins in the dome.
Jets with 4 at the line of scrimmage. Boone back to pass. Has loads of time going. Got him. He's got Drew Hill. And it went through his hands at the 10-yard line. I don't know what Drew did. It went right between his hands.
The Oilers' hospitality knew no bounds, even on the Jets' doorstep.
Boone under center, 3rd and goal. Pitch the ball. Lorenzo White fumbled the ball. Ball is loose at the 6-yard line, picked up by the Jets. It's Hasty. He's at the 20, and we get a whistle saying, no, play is over.
The Oilers' offense abandoned them 4 times inside the Jets' 30-yard line. Then the Oilers left the Jets' Al Toon unattended in their secondary.
Throws long down the left side to Toon. He's got it to the 15, heading for the goal line in the left corner, and drives in for the score. Touchdown.
New York led 7-3 at the half, but Houston would regain the lead when its receivers regained the use of their hands. Warren Moon threw for 381 yards on 30 completions, including his league-leading 18th touchdown pass of the season.
Goal for the Jet 9-yard line. Moon looking, pump fake, now throws it over the middle. Touchdown, Haywood Jeffries.
The Oilers would outgain the Jets with 425 total yards to New York's 229, but only led 12-7. And even the new undisputed heavyweight champion of the world would tell you that while it's nice to outpoint your opponent, sometimes you have to finish him off. Houston's Bruce Matthews refused to let Jeff Lageman off the canvas. But unlike boxers, football players can be replaced before the fight is over. And it was a backup defensive end who did the Oilers in.
Goes into his own end zone, being rushed. He's tackled. The ball is loose, rolling free. It's still rolling free. And it looks like it's a touchdown for the Jets. It is a touchdown for the Jets. The Jets have scored the touch to go ahead.
Darrell Davis, a rookie drafted in the 12th round, gave the Jets their first fourth-quarter touchdown of the year in a 17-12 victory by decision. Decisions. Should we take out a second mortgage in this economy? Should we throw on second and short? Who can blame the New Orleans Saints for just wanting to dig a hole, cover up inside, and give everything away?
Aaron in motion right, Walsh back to throw. Pump fake, now left side wide open, Mays at the 40. He's to the 45, fumble! And it's picked up with a help by Jimmy Williams. Back to midfield, down the near sideline to the 40. He's to the 30, gets a block from Irvin to the 15, to the 10. Jimmy Williams takes it in. Touchdown, Lions.
The Saints tied a team record with 8 turnovers that led to all of Detroit's 27 points.
Shy of the 38, out of the eye. Fumble by Finnerty. It's loose, and I believe the Lions have it at the 36-yard line. Unbelievable.
Well, I'll tell you what, you want to talk self-destruct? They have pulled the pin on the hand grenade, and it has gone off at their feet.
Few things could be more depressing than giving away a game. But how about giving away your future? The Minnesota Vikings may have given charity a new name when they donated 8 draft picks and 5 players for a running back they seldom use. So to deflect some of the heat they've been taking lately, they gave him the ball on their first play last Sunday.
Going, the pitch goes back to the tailback, Herschel Walker, and he's dragged down. Looks like a fumble, loose ball, fumble, and the Packers recover.
Some have questioned Herschel's heart. But the problem last Sunday was Herschel's hands. And while the Vikings have yet to find a spot for Walker in their offense, they have found a place for him on the bench. But maybe quarterback Rich Gannon's passes are playing hard to catch. Just ask Green Bay defensive lineman Sean Patterson, number 96.
Now breaks down a little bit, comes up over the middle. He caught it. It was Sean Patterson. Sean Patterson picked it off and ran it in for a touchdown. What a great play.
The Packers' good hands accounted for 5 second-half interceptions and spectacular moments on both sides of the ball.
Janet out of the shotgun. Here comes the blitz. Picked off. Butler. A second interception.
Rookie cornerback Leroy Butler iced the Packers' victory. You might say the Pack was given this win, but if the Vikings' charitable ways continue, they'll find a willing taker like Green Bay every week. It's been no treat for Patriot fans this season as their team is off to its worst start in 20 years. Beating New England has been like taking candy from a baby. And Sunday, the mischievous Bills kept snatching goodies and performing tricks at the expense of those masquerading as football players.
New England is spread out in the line now, and they're sending an inside linebacker, and Kelly will throw long downfield to Lofton.
Aided by the sure hands of Andre Reed and number 80 James Lofton, Jim Kelly put together another strong outing. But it was the sticky fingers of Keith McKellar that gave Kelly his only touchdown pass. Unlike New England's offense, which has scored just 1 touchdown in each of its last 6 games, the Bills have had little trouble finding the end zone. And they usually have chosen the most direct route to get there. With some help from the head of number 59, Vincent Brown, Don Smith took 1 step with the ball and ended up in the end zone. But teammate Thurman Thomas didn't need any free rides. With his 136 yards rushing, Thomas moved into first place in the AFC in yards from scrimmage. And with 27 points before the final period, the Bills didn't need a fourth quarter comeback to get the win for the first time in 4 games. Buffalo is now 6-1 and still tied atop the AFC East with the team Ron Meyer's Colts had to host Sunday, the Miami Dolphins. And on the Colts' first possession, they showed they were going to be gracious hosts.
Fumbles the football. Who's got it at the goal line? Dolphins have the football. If they have it in the end zone, it's a touchdown. It has been signified as a touchdown for Miami. So Cliff Odom, a former Colt for 9 years, falls on the ball.
It seems only fitting that during Halloween week, a former Colt would come back in a Dolphin costume to haunt his old team in more ways than one.
To the right side, he looks, he's going to have to run, and he is crushed by Cliff Odom.
With Jack Trudeau out, it was time for Jeff George to take his first snap in 4 weeks. George hung around a little longer than Buster Douglas did last week before the rookie was KO'd with a knee injury. Enter 40-year-old Joe Ferguson. No wonder the Dolphins didn't knock him out. By holding the Colts to 132 total net yards, Miami's defense is now ranked #1 in the NFL. As for the offense,
direct snap, drops, throws over the middle, caught, touchdown.
Dan Marino has thrown just 7 touchdown passes this season, but he has the Dolphins on a 4-game win streak, their longest in 5 years. With Election Day and Halloween so close to each other, sometimes it's hard to keep a straight face. How is a person to distinguish the real thing from a masquerader? Take the Rams, for example. For the first 16 seconds of Monday night, the Rams dominated the game. Unfortunately, 59 minutes of football remained after Gaston Green's 100-yard kickoff return. But it seems someone forgot to tell the Rams. Bubby Brister and the Steelers, on the other hand, went on a scoring binge. Brister threw 4 touchdown passes, including 1 to tight end Eric Green, who now has 6 in only 4 games. While Brister outdueled his more celebrated counterpart, Steeler running backs feasted on a toothless Rams defense, piling up nearly 200 yards rushing. With the win, the Steelers may yet treat their fans to a run at the playoffs, while for the Rams, the season seems to be one long, cruel trick.
In the same leg, make it very difficult for him to return.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Let's talk about the future of another person we've talked about on.
On this week's cover story, we'll take a look at a running back who's returned home, but to a new team. Tampa Bay's Gary Anderson.
I was Lynn Dawson and the rest of the NFL quarterbacks' worst nightmare. The greatest quarterback killer of all time. Stay tuned.
Mike Ditka, the volatile head coach of the resurgent 6-1 Chicago Bears, will be joining us on NFL Crosstalk. Watch their Giants race out of the starting gate as quickly as they have in 1990. And on Sunday, these runaway Giants look to put some distance between themselves and their closest competitor by stuffing the Redskins for the second time in 3 weeks.
From the 30, throws, he has a target, it is intercepted, taken down by Emerson Wall.
The Giants' #1 ranked defense set the tone for a scoreless first quarter. Eventually, however, New York's offense also found its rhythm and scored on successive possessions to open the second period.
Sims looking end zone. Sims throws. Touchdown, Baker! Sims fakes the handoff, rolls right, throws. He's got the ball. He turns it up. Touchdown! You can't cover him with the linebacker. He's too good.
The Giants look too good in taking a 14-0 lead. The Giants were making it look easy, and on their next possession, they tried to make the game an early runaway with a fake field goal from Jeff Hostetler to Lawrence Taylor. But number 20, Alvoid Mays, broke up the play with coverage that the Giants felt might have been a little too close.
That was our fault. LT was this bad call, bro. You know that. Huh? Oh, he tackled it. I guess when they figured that LT's supposed to be the greatest, you know, he can do everything. He's going to jump over him.
Bad call or not, the Giants' missed opportunity gave Washington hope to get back in the game. And midway through the third period, quarterback Stan Humphries finally got the Redskins into the end zone.
He's being threatened. He breaks away from one man, runs to his left. They're all after him. He gets inside the 5. He'll score.
Humphries pulled the Redskins to within 14-10, and in the fourth quarter, New York was in danger of losing its lead.
Because the Redskins are knocking on the door.
Play action fake to Riggs. Humphries in the end zone, batted to Biner, intercepted in the end zone by Greg Jackson, the strong safety. Off of Biner's hands and into the Giants. And a touchdown.
2 minutes later, the Giants' third interception of the day sealed the win.
Talk about a key play. Here it is, 3rd and 5. Pressure's on. Throws it out over the middle, intercepted at the 20. He's returning it back to the 15, the 10, the 5, the end zone. Emerson Walls with a touchdown for the New York Giants. It leaves the Redskins stumped.
Walls scored! Walls scored! And wow. That's the first one in a 15-year career. 7-0. You thought we wasn't real, didn't you? This is real, boy. NYG.
The 7-0 Giants certainly are for real, and if things continue to go their way, they'll continue.